It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We are so glad you could join us here on Song Talk Radio. This here is a little show where we talk about songwriting and share tips and tricks and all the things we figured out along the way. You share your tips and tricks, and hopefully by the end, we will all get just a little bit better at writing songs. My name is Phil, and here are a couple of guys. Over there is Mr. Neil Modi. How you doing there, Neil?
Doing pretty good. Happy New Year, everybody, and Happy New Year, guys.
And over there's Michael, Mr. Michael Pride.
Hello, Phil. Hello, Neil. Hello, world. Happy New Year. Everybody staying safe and happy.
I hope so. Don't forget, we want to hear from you, the listener. So why don't you send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca with questions or comments about the show. And your emails make us so happy to get them. And of course, some house cleaning. And so how has everyone's...
Not here.
How's everyone's New Year been so far?
It's been good.
It's been a very quiet news cycle,
back to
I think.
work.
That's, nothing's really
Yeah,
happening.
I slept in. I cooked well. It was just, it was quite good, actually. Getting back to work was difficult.
That was the hard part.
An adjustment. I got to get up when?
Well, the commute kills you, It's
Yeah.
Oh, I know. That hallway.
Bedroom to the office.
Crowded.
And what have you been guys doing musically over the last little while? I guess
Funny you
since
should ask.
December.
Songwriting challenge.
Yes. How's that going?
It's been going good. So for those people who don't know, haven't heard yet, you haven't been tuning in. You should be tuning in, or else you'd know this by now. Our latest songwriting challenge for this year is to write a song where the chord progression never changes. And the three of us hosts are going to share our answers to this challenge on the January 26th, 2021 episode, which is just coming up in a couple weeks. The deadline is looming, boys and girls. And replies from our listeners, from which we've already received several replies from our listeners, which is fantastic. We're going to share your answers, on the February 16th episode. So if you're interested in write a fresh song where the chord progression never changes, send us your MP3 and your lyrics to feedback@songtalk.ca by February 9th, and we'll feature your song on the February 16th episode, or a later episode if we run out of time and want to feature more of your songs, which I'm sure we will. So how about you guys? Have you been how's it coming along for you, Mike?
Well, interesting process, and on the show we'll get into it in greater detail, but it sort of came together quickly and nicely, and I was happy with it. And then when I tried to do more with it than just making an acoustic guitar song, it keeps going places and doesn't do what I wanted to do. So I'm really I'm struggling at this point. But
Okay.
as an acoustic guitar, tune, okay, it's fine. But I'd like to make more of it because the last year's challenge took me to some really interesting places. So I was hoping to get a bit more out of it. But there's a couple of weeks. It could happen still.
That's true. That's what weekends
Bill,
are
how's
for.
yours going?
Well, it's good. I had this realization a couple of days ago that we failed to talk about possibly a huge hit, which is one chord progression all the way through.
Which one was that?
Werewolves in London by Warren Zevon.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It is one thing the whole way through. There's no change. It's an interesting thing to actually listen to kind of get the form, because he has a hook, the woo, Werewolves in London. It's really hooky, but also they have a guitar solo which comes in on a very different kind of note. So it kind of acts like a bridge to kind of cleanse the palate. It's a really interesting song. It seems like it's a throwaway song at first, but listen to it a bunch of times. It's a pretty decent little song.
I haven't heard that in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's a good, a huge hit too.
And like we said on the show that we did on this topic, there are many songs out there, more than you'd think, that have the same chord
Big
progression
hits
throughout, and hits.
Yes.
Yeah. Serious hits.
But it's been going quite well. It's been interesting because the lyrics have been fairly easy for some reason.
Oh,
Um,
that's a
and
switch for you.
yeah, I know, actually it is. And the music, well, because the initial music came out fine, but I was trying to, again, I wrote it on bass, and actually it was a weird melody. I couldn't figure it out. I actually had to reach out to Frank Horvath,
Oh,
and his big musical brain giving him going like, what the heck is this? Is this some kind of weird mode? And so trying to build an accompaniment to it, I got pulled off on kind of a weird tangent. And it turned out it's actually a very simple song. It's a 1 to a 2. So
like a
A 1 and a 2.
a 1 and a 2,
and a 3 and a 4.
a 1 and a 2 minor, and that's the song.
So it's only 2 chords.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Excellent. Like Dreams, that Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah,
Just
like the
2
Dreams.
chords.
kind of. Maybe a bigger hit than that. But
And the
It's,
Dreams was two major chords. It was F major, G major.
I've been playing around with inversions, so it's been a great challenge to really push yourself into doing something you wouldn't normally do.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, for myself, actually wrote a version of the song just before the holidays, but I wasn't 100% happy with the chord progression because it was kind of too conventional for me. And then I wrote a second version of the song that had a little more interesting chord progression, but I still wasn't happy with it. It was kind of weird, and we got too weird. And then I wrote a third version of the song with a different chord progression, and I was happy with this chord progression because it was a little more fluid and kind of softer. And I wanted this song to be kind of haunting. And then I went back and I'm in the midst now of like really touching up on the lyrics and making the cadences a little bit better and that sort of thing. But for myself, it's just going to be a simple piano vocal, just a 1+1 song. So
Great.
Get all sensitive on
That'll
us
be
now.
coming up later this month.
yeah, a couple weeks to polish it off now. So should be good.
Speaking of lyrics and words, Phil, do we have words from our listeners?
We do. We got a great email from Stuart Cook, one of our fans.
In England? Is he in
England,
England?
yes.
Yeah.
Happy Christmas to the whole Song Talk crew. Thanks to you for all your efforts through the year. Much appreciated. Who would have predicted a year like it's been? I've talked to many of my musical friends recently. They seem to have taken 2 directions. Some have played, sung, and written more, others less, to the point of almost giving up. And that's true. One friend who has spent the last 30 years recording, touring in various parts of the world has just occupied himself doing other things. My guitars are badly neglected and singing has just not been part of my life. But listening to the podcast is still right up there. I'll be talking to my sister who lives in the Ravine area of Toronto on Boxing Day. So I'll know what your weather's like for the break. Hope it's good. Here's to 2021. Got to be better than 2020 eventually. Well,
Oh, things can always get worse.
Well, it's just been a very slow news week. So, not much has happened.
Oh, speaking of news and speaking of things getting worse, one of my favorite opening lines to a song is an Art Bergman song, Dirge number 9, I think it's called. There are no absolutes to human misery. Things can get worse. Art Bergman has been nominated. He's going to get the Order of Canada.
That's right. That is so awesome.
I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I mean, their track record of mostly giving it to white guys is still intact, but that's still pretty good that Art Bergman's getting the Order of Canada.
And, it comes with a lot of perks, which a lot of people don't realize.
I didn't know that.
Right. So like a Canadian Tire, all Canadian Tire, 2.5%, right off the top.
Off?
So no off.
Wow, 2.5.
2.5. So
something to shoot for.
it's really valuable through Canadian Tire. So
all
Good
right.
to know. Okay.
And on that point, we have our guest.
Speaking of people that should be nominated for awards, our special guest today.
Delyn Grey is a Toronto-based artist looking to break some barriers via alt-rock waves. And we're going to hear a bit of her tune coming up as soon as I press this magic button.
Another day haunted by memories. safe place, thin like a razor blade, hope fate, beauty in the aching, ain't trying to be saved, I let my dark side shine, beauty in the aching, happiness forsaken, here's where evil resides. Listen to the thunder. Ah, listen to the thunder. Ah, listen to the thunder.
She is a Toronto-based artist looking to break some barriers via alt rock waves. Her voice is rooted in the contemporary, but has a unique depth and richness of timbre, a maturity of emotion that distinguishes her not only from her like-aged peers, but from older, established artists as well. She reaches far beyond the typical love and heartbreak themes, so superficially indulged ad nauseum by the vast majority of current commercial artists. She combines current R&B and electronic vibes with edgier rock elements reminiscent of the early days of grunge. Thanks for coming on the show, Delyn Grey.
Thanks for having
Hello,
me.
Dylan.
Hello. Good to
So
have
I
you on the
want
show.
to start off by saying I'm really happy to hear rough, heavier music, because I found so much of modern stuff is, I mean, it's a style thing, but it seems to be lighter. And, you know, as someone who kind of grew up on punk and I love that sort of energy, I'm going like, why aren't you more angry? And maybe there's too much anger. I don't know. Have you always been into this kind of heavier material?
No, absolutely not. Definitely from kind of a listener standpoint, I was always into like Audioslave, Nirvana, the Vines,
Okay.
just totally in that world. But you know, that didn't really fly so well with my friends in high school. So I was writing this like indie pop music, which was still cool, but definitely not where I wanted to be. So I managed to link up with a producer in Toronto, and he just ripped it right out of me, and
Nice.
there it came.
So you, when you were in high school, you were writing songs for your friends. Like you weren't trying to do what you wanted to do. You were trying to deliberately do what they wanted to hear.
Yes, yeah, because I wanted to be popular, right? It was such a high school is so weird. Let's just leave it at that. It's so weird, and I just didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I wanted people to listen to my music ultimately, and so I wanted to make music that they were already listening to, which I've since realized is just not an interesting way to go. So I'm glad that it kind of turned out to be what it is.
And when you look back at that 90s grunge stuff, I mean, one of the remarkable things about it is the dynamics in that music, right? There are extraordinary moments of quiet and extraordinary moments of loud and heavy, right? And in your song, that's something I'm hearing as well. But you know, like people think, oh, loud music must be like wall to wall loud, but it's really very dynamic, section to section, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's honestly, I think that's one of the things that draws me in the most, especially when it comes to like the 90s grunge era. It is that dynamic. It kind of got lost along the way somewhere, and you don't see it as much anymore because everything's but yeah, I completely agree. Thank you.
Cool.
Not that there's anything wrong with
No, I love it. It's
No,
great.
not necessarily.
but yeah.
But there is something to be said for that. I mean, you know.
So this is a bit of a departure for you from your previous releases, though. Is this a break for you, or is this a new direction that you're going to continue to mine?
Yeah, it's definitely a new direction. New music coming out definitely lives in that vein. It's a little bit more piano driven. I have another single out called Battle, which is kind of a piano ballad. And so there's elements of all of that in the new stuff, but definitely still living in the grungy vein, like 9 Inch Nails, Janis Joplin-y type stuff. Like it's cool.
So when you were writing more poppy stuff, were your lyrics brighter as well? And now you've deliberately gone with darker lyrics?
Yeah, so it wasn't so much deliberate as it was. I mean, it was deliberate in the sense that it was what I've been wanting to say this whole time. And when I was writing pop music, it was like, oh my gosh, I really like this guy, he doesn't like me back, oh it really sucks, like not. And some pop music is awesome, and I just wasn't tapping into that, because I was like, I just don't even know where to start. Like what I'm feeling right now does not translate to pop music for me. So yeah, finding this sound, like developing this sound, kind of allowed me to express what I'm actually feeling, or things that I want to say. I mean, Listen to the Thunder, I don't even know why I wrote it, and there are a lot of songs that I've written that I just don't understand yet. This is one of them. I'm still trying to figure out what it means. But just the lyrics just felt right. So
Nice. What is the now? Let's talk about your process of writing songs. Are you starting off with like a acoustic guitar or piano or lyrics, or what is your process like?
yeah, my process is a complete mess. So it really depends on the song, depends on the day, depends on what I'm feeling. I I was taking piano lessons for quite some time, part of the like RCM actual, not never concert level, but I did take piano exams. And I can barely play guitar. I'm self-taught from YouTube. So whenever I can, I'll pick something up or I'll smash around on the keys and like, oh, that sounds really cool. Start blabbing some words, and eventually the words come out. Or I'll write stuff down. I'm a sucker for like pen and paper. I really don't like typing notes in my phone, so I have
Hmm.
notebooks sprawled all over the house. And whenever something comes, I'll write it down. And it may be years from then that I end up using it, but it's there for me to find it when I need to.
And is that the beginnings of songs, or like what I'm getting at is how much editing do you do, or development of the songs do you do then?
Yeah, so I guess specifically for Listen to the Thunder, I wrote it in about 20 minutes in my kitchen, ran downstairs and put like some really awful drums behind it to try to get like, I knew what I wanted the percussion to be, but I just was not a tech savvy whatsoever. So unfortunately for my producer, he received that track, and I went into the studio the next day, and he was like, okay, I think this is where it's going, let's try this. So we tried a couple things. I was like, yeah, no, 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 hate that, love that. And we just spent the day just shaping it. So that's what Listen to the Thunder was. And for others, it's similar. It'll end up being me kind of transferring stuff to my computer, playing around with things, and then asking my musicians if they have any like ideas. I'm not a producer. It's not what I do, but I'm very much intrigued by it, and I'm here to learn from anyone that I can. So I like bringing people in on that process.
You say you wrote the song in 20 minutes. Even after you took it to your producer, were there any like changes to the chords, changes to the lyrics, changes to the melodies, anything like that?
Yeah, so there were definitely changes to the chords. He's a lot more musically inclined
Mm,
than myself. So he definitely put his whole like twist to the song,
mm,
made it, I guess, filled it up a little bit more. But the bones were there, the melodic structure was there. It just needed a little bit of oomph.
Do you think much about the structure of the songs while you're putting them together, or or do you?
Yeah, I so interestingly enough, this year I've been trying not to think too much about the structures. I definitely get caught in, okay, verse one, pre-chorus, chorus, verse two, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, chorus, whatever. And I'm trying to kind of just let things flow a little bit more this year in writing. So that's been a bit of an experiment. But yeah, for the most part, at least for the music that'll be coming out in short future, it was very much driven by structure.
I mean, how have you found that, trying to go a bit more free?
It's been great. I actually find like there's a lot more, obviously there's a lot more freedom, that I don't even need to say that, but I think the songs end up going places that they may not have, had I
Hmm.
thought, I'm working on the pre-chorus and it's not working. Being a little bit more open-minded to, this may actually be a chorus, or this may be like a fourth verse or even a third verse. Just try it, get everything together. It's kind of, I do this in my 9 to 5. I write a lot of emails. You have like a huge email that you're about to send out, and then you just refine it to pretty much what you need people to understand, or what you actually are trying to get across. So that's kind of what the process has been, is just spitting out a bunch of stuff, making a ton of noise, and then refining it and bringing it down to what the song is asking to be.
Right.
And
Yeah, because I
is
mean,
your
like,
process, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when it comes to structure, like I used to write instrumental music exclusively before I started writing songs for many years, and I could play with structure and it kind of wouldn't matter. But as soon as I start writing lyrics come out of me anyway. They tend to be so bloody symmetrical that they lend a song so much, structure that's consistent, and there's verse chorus and verse chorus and bridge and that sort of thing, and I kind of can't help it. Like, how do you tackle being loose with structure? Like, when you write your lyrics, is it like more of a stream of consciousness kind of thing, or?
Yeah, it totally is. I go at it as though I'm writing a story, and then I'll kind of put, it'll end up being this like 7 minute, 8 minute song with a bunch of different melodies for different phrases, and like I'll end up being, okay, that phrase makes absolutely no sense, or I don't need to say that because I'm kind of seeing it here. Oh my gosh, that's the chorus. Like, this makes sense. I'm definitely butchering my explanation of the process.
You
That's good.
certainly get the idea anyway. But
Yeah, it's a whole mess. It's definitely a
yeah.
mess, but it's cool. It's cool. It's
But it comes together.
Mhm.
Do you
And Mike,
start
what was your
with
question?
an idea, or is it like a kind of you get the lyrics sorted, or is it, or is the mess, you get some idea, some lyrics, some music, and you just keep pushing and pulling to see which ones work?
Yeah, it's exactly that. And it may start with a melody at first. I mean, the other day I just got home, and oh my gosh, something's happening up here. So I pulled out my phone and started singing, and I was just doing like laps of my house pretty much, and saying random stuff into my phone, and it was a 10-minute voice memo. And in that voice memo, I had some lines that I really liked, like some lyrics that were really cool. Most of it was just blah 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 blah. It made absolutely no sense. But from that, I started like writing in my notebook. It's like, okay, maybe this is the story that I want to tell through this song, and kind of went from there, taking out from that voice memo what made sense for the lyrics that I started to write.
Do you work? Do you worry about hooks very much? I mean, some people are just, especially with modern songwriting, it's all about the hooks, and they want to have like, 2 hooks before the song starts even. Do you worry about that, or?
No, I don't. I definitely got stuck in that, stuck in it, I guess. In kind of the beginning of my writing career, if you will. I was definitely stuck on, okay, you need to draw the listener in. Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Hmm.
Um, and I worked with an awesome producer at one point who just got straight to the chorus in one of my songs, and it blew my mind. He was like, no, you just need to get to the hook. Like, I don't care about the rest of the song. And that hurts. Like, I care about the rest of the song, and I want others to care and to hear that, right? So yeah, I don't know, it really varies from song to song. I hope that there's enough in these songs to draw people in, but it's not my sole, goal. It's not the driver behind my songs per se.
I heard a tip not too long ago where the person was saying, write your verse and your chorus, as most people end up doing, then take your chorus, make that the verse, ditch your verse, and then write a new chorus.
That's
Ah,
cool.
Right. And then your hooks are really loaded up front.
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there? Yeah. Right. I guess the idea is write a better chorus after that.
And you
yeah.
keep doing that over and over
You just
again
keep
until
regurgitating that.
you can't.
That way you never
For
actually
this
have to
song,
finish the song, and then
yeah, no, you never have to finish it. You just keep doing that. For Listen to the Thunder, what was the spur? What the spark? Where did it come from originally? Like, was it an idea, a concept, a line?
Yeah, it came from pure frustration. I was working on another song the same day I wrote Listen to the Thunder, and it was going nowhere. And I went upstairs and was just like, oh my gosh. It was actually thundering outside. Like there was a
Mm.
crazy rainstorm, and I heard like the crashing, and it aggravated me even more. Oh my God, everything sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Oh boy.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, listen to the thunder. And it's nothing original per se, but it just made sense in the moment. I was like, oh, this could be really cool. Let's write some really dark music, or like some really dark lyrics and melody, and see where it
Mhm.
goes. And I was banging on my kitchen counter, and it definitely released something. But yeah, it came from an actual thunderstorm.
That's
Amazing.
really
Makes
cool.
sense.
All right.
Well, shall we take a listen
Let's
to
take a
it?
listen to this.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So, Ray, is there anything that you want us to especially listen for, do you think, or?
I don't think so. I just hope you
Any
enjoy it.
moments? All right, then let's
right.
enjoy it.
Let's hit it.
Another day, haunted by memories can't erase. Safe place, thin like a razor blade. Hope fades. Beauty in the aching, ain't trying to be saved. I let my dark side shine. Beauty in the aching, happiness forsaken. Here's where evil resides. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Found a place, head keeps messing, blessings blurring. It's okay. Someday I'll wake amid the red waves. Beauty in the aching, ain't trying to be saved. I let my dark side shine. Beauty in the aching, happiness forsaken. Here's where evil resides. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Breathe in, out, sing. Exhale, hallowed be my pain. Breathe in, out, sing. Exhale, hallowed be my pain. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder. Listen to the thunder.
All right.
Very cool.
That's a great tune.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
So what'd you think, Mike?
Well, there's a lot of neat things about it. One thing is the rhyme scheme, or sometimes there is one, sometimes there isn't. Like in the verses, there's internal rhymes, but not line to line rhymes. And then, of course, the pre-chorus, it does. I was just kind of going through that. Okay, what part is, because in different places it's internal, and then other times it's, you don't worry about it. And then another thing I think is quite cool about it is one of the hooky parts is not the lyric. It's the in the
Hmm.
chorus. So looking at it on paper, they go, okay, there's two verses, or there's a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus. You know, like it looks pretty standard, as you were saying before. But then when it plays out, it doesn't sound typical at all, and there's all kinds of little tricks and things that are going on. So I found that keeps your ear engaged.
Thank you. Thank you.
How about you, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. And it was interesting, Mike, when you said the hook isn't part of the lyric, my brain went to that guitar lick of dan, 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 dan. Like that is
Yeah.
super catchy. And it's
But
right off
it's
the
the
top.
tension, right? The dun 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 dun, and then
Yeah.
it's released with the
Yeah, yeah.
that really pays off, right?
Yeah.
In a nice
Yeah,
way
I
too.
mean, I love the darkness of this. And I actually didn't notice, Mike, when you pointed out about the rhyme scheme, because I was like, no, it just sort of fits together, and I didn't mind that it didn't rhyme necessarily. And there are, like I said, there are
Oh, there are
spots of-
rhymes, but the
there are
one
rhymes.
rhymes keeps changing, which
They
is
keep
sort of
changing. It's
neat,
not
right?
consistent, right? Which is really cool, right?
Mhm.
But when I first heard the song, I was like, listen to the thunder. I was interpreting it, like you say, it came from a really dark, frustrating place, which it clearly did and clearly does. But I always interpret listen to the thunder as a positive thing, as in there is something to be gleaned from all this darkness, and can we actually listen to it and give it good attention and turn it into something better, right? And so I actually see it as kind of a positive affirmation kind of song, despite all the darkness. Especially the line, "Here's where evil resides." Like that's getting really like, you know, the stereotypical heavy metal, death metal kind of. We're talking about evil, and yeah, it's all really bleak. Not that I listen to that stuff, but yeah, yeah, it's just great. And the bridge is really, really well done. It changed the chords, it changed the melodies, the whole tone of it changes, and then right back into the into the chorus, which again, like standard structure, but in those changes. And the bridge is just long enough. You know, it's two sort of four lines, but repeated the lyric. But yeah, really well done song for sure.
I really liked there's sort of the internal rhyme within the line, "Beauty in the aching happiness forsaken," which I thought was
Yeah,
was kind of
that's a
just very
great
hooky.
line.
That was kind of a you know, and that was kind of neat. Almost a bit of a rap feel. Sometimes you know how they do that in those
Yes.
in the lines which I liked. What I thought was really cool is in the second verse, um, is that it wasn't like you had an exact copy of the first verse. You know, the first verse is "Another day haunted by memories, can't erase." But then the first line of your second line, of course, is found a place, head keeps messing, blessings blurring. Like it's a very different approach, and you kind of hit the line sort of differently, which really kind of helped make it sort of that much more interesting because it wasn't, you know, there's some people like Sting and they do like, you know, every line is the same, and that's kind of part of the thing, and that's good. But it's interesting to be reminded that you don't actually have to do that. You actually have a bit of freedom to kind of do something like that, which is very different from the first verse, but it doesn't sound wrong. You know, like it just sounds interesting, and it kind of pulls the ear
Yeah,
along. You know.
yeah. You know what the key to that is, and I'm finding this with my songwriting challenge that we talked about earlier in the show too. Space. If you give yourself tons of
Yeah.
space in the verse, you can play with those melodies, and they can be different, and you can add syllables and you can take away syllables and be a little
Mhm.
bit freer with it. You know, when something's as tight as your chorus is, it's a little bit harder. But yeah, space. That's the key.
Did the song go through a lot of variations, like as you were working through it, or?
No, actually, this is one of the songs that just kind of like songs I've written that just kind of came out the way it is. Obviously, I there was a lot of tweaking done from a production standpoint in terms of like the guitar riff, getting that down and getting that communication between vocals and guitars and like kind of finding that perfect balance between the two. But um the voice memo is pretty much that. Like there really isn't much different to it. The melodic structure is exactly the same.
So when you took it to your producer, there was no music. You just had you got a melody and a lyric.
Yeah,
That-
melody, lyric, and then a drum track.
And a drum track. So you never hashed out the chords on the piano before you took it to your producer or anything like that?
No, I hadn't.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. And that's why this is a guitar song.
Yes, that's exactly why. Yeah, he's like, yes, oh, awesome, let's do it.
Yes.
Which is nice. I mean, I
Yeah.
sort of wonder if the guitar is going to be kind of, like a lot of kids want to be doing, like sampling and rapping, and like they don't want to be standing in front of a Marshall stack with
Yeah,
big guitars, and I think that's a bit of a shame.
They
Well,
want to
Marshall stacks
preserve
come in
their
little
hearing.
pods now.
Yeah, there you go.
Preserve herring? No, I don't want a herring.
Well, all the stacks are in software now, so it's
That's true, actually.
It's,
Yeah.
it's all good. So, Dylan, what do your friends think about this new approach? The ones that dug the pop music, are they digging the darker side?
They are so into it. It's ridiculous. I was like, I was actually mad at myself for not doing this sooner. Like, really, guys? You
All in due
actually okay, cool. Yeah, so it's been really well received, and I actually just got a bunch of fans involved in choosing the next single to be released, and everyone's super stoked and still within the same vein. So it's definitely hitting places, which is good.
That is so
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna be pretty satisfying.
Have you had a chance to play it with a band yet?
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is probably my favorite song to play with the band right now. It's such an empowering song, kind of to speak to what you were saying, Neil.
Mhm.
Finding kind of a more positive outlook through the song. It gets me through my performances, and not to say that I don't enjoy them, but there does come a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so depressing. Like the music that I wrote is so heavy. It's so heavy. Like Battle is just, I wrote it, I was not in a great place, and Listen to the Thunder when it's on the same set gets me right out of it and ready to go again.
Mhm.
And hit even harder with the next one. So it's a really, really great one. And the guys love it too. It's just the energy changes in the room.
Yeah, like it is a powerfully energetic song,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is great.
So have you had any kind of sort of eureka moments in the last maybe the last year that you can sort of communicate to other people who are sort of starting off writing songs?
Yeah. I think a eureka moment that seems to be pretty consistent in my world is allowing myself to write absolute crap before finding what I'm actually trying to say. So this was something that my dad told me early on. I got so stuck in finding the perfect lyric, finding the perfect chord, pretty much just that, and not actually being able to get anywhere because I was so stuck on that doesn't rhyme, or that's so cliche. Write all the cliches in the world that you want, and you'll be able to find a way to piece all of that together in a way that is your own. I guess that would be my tip for new writers.
That's a hard thing
Give
to do.
yourself permission to be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing for any writer of at any point, is to, I guess the idea is to get out of your own way.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of your own way and try as much as you possibly can. Coming from someone who boxed themselves in like the indie pop stuff and broke out into a completely different genre, or like whatever musical world, just try stuff. Like
Well,
no
and
one
that's-
cares. Like
yeah, like that's really the key, because like the flip side to this is when you write something that you think is perfect, but there's something inkling at you that says that it's not, and having the bravery to say, you know what, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to try this again and try and do it better, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this something about this is not quite right, but it's is it good enough? No, it's not. And you want to try and push that. But that's the great thing about songwriting, is you can try something else. If it doesn't work out as well, you can go back to what you had before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Okay.
And I think Michael, you were talking about it at the beginning of the show, your song challenge, having an acoustic tune right now, but not feeling like it's there yet. And that's such a cool place to be. It's frustrating as hell, but once you find what you've been missing, it's just so rewarding.
Exactly. The journey right now is kind of frustrating, but I know there's going to be some kind of cool payoff. So I'm looking forward to that. But I've got a deadline. Speaking of deadlines,
I think I hear the band, which means they want to go home. That's all the time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Delyn Grey for
Thank you,
stopping
Dylan. It
by.
was great to have
Thank
you
you,
on the
Dylan.
show.
Thank you so
Where
much.
can listeners find more of your stuff?
Spotify, Instagram, Google Play, YouTube, all under Delyn Grey, DELYNGREY.
That's fantastic. And listeners, we want to hear from you. So send us your comments on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to @SongTalkRadio. Send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. Also, why don't you check out the YouTube channel for live performances and full episodes, which is basically
Yeah,
what
why
we do
don't
now.
you?
Why don't you? Subscribe today
What's
to the
wrong
Song
with
Talk
you?
Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter at the site as well. You can find the links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned here on the show on the resources page. And wherever you are in the world, you can now join us online via Zoom at our next Song Talk meetup. Free to join on meetup.com and free to attend. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. It will be at it's a Monday this time, or is it Sunday?
I think it's Sunday this month, but
Yeah, it's Sunday.
just check it out.
But most of all, we'd like to thank you, the home listener. You can follow me at philemery.ca. How about Neil? How do people get more of you?
neilmodi.com.
And how about you, Michael?
Outfit 420 on Instagram.
On Instagram. And stop by the site at songtalk.ca to browse past shows and to find out how you could be a guest. Stay safe, everyone, and keep on writing. Good night.
Cheers.
This is where we dance. It's like sprockets. And we're out.
Scene.
And scene.
That was great. Great stuff.
Thank you very much,
so
Dylan.
much.
And you should definitely come to our meetup, Dylan, as well.
That would be awesome. That was what you guys mentioned just now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
towards the end. Yeah.
I don't know what is it the last
Last Sunday this month, but there's a
in
link on the
January, yeah.
website. We can you can just check that out and sign up on meetup.com and then just join us.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
it's
there's
really
people
nice.
of different songwriting professional ranges, but it's
Mhm.
great. I find when you have a thing you're working on, you say, okay, is this landing the way I think it will? Or I remember, I don't know, it was back when you could do it in person. I brought a song in, and Phil, you had a really good point. Your pronouns are confusing me, and it was. I mean, I like the idea, but you would get lost listening to it because the he and the she and it was okay. So so it's for songs that are broken or that are still green. It's a really nice bit of feedback.
Or even for developed songs. Like I once brought in a song and someone made a lyrical suggestion, and I was just like, that is so freaking obvious. Why didn't I think of that? But it's just like, yeah, of course, that's what the lyric should be. Like, what? you know, and it's
But it
like,
was too late then. That's what I'm saying. Don't bring in finished work.
well, no, but it was still, it's still, you know,
change
say this is a draft, right? And then you can always revisit it, right? So
Yeah.
it wasn't
It's such a
finished,
nice, it's such a nice positive atmosphere. It's not like, when you go to those day with the demos, they can be pretty nasty. It's not like that. It's like, oh, if you can't sing, it doesn't matter. It's about people learning how to write songs. So it's really fun.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I'll definitely sign up on the website.
Yeah. We used to have it, and we still will. We'll have it at the Transact Club when life gets back to quote unquote normal. But and that's in your
so
hood,
in the
so we should
fall,
be good.
maybe.
Hopefully.
I'm thinking November. That is my prediction.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction in November.
I wonder.
There was that vaccine calculator. The doctor put out a thing depending on your age and your profession. You answer a bunch of questions, and then she predicts.
Really?
You should get your vaccine between July and September based on the current information.
But it depends on so many different things.
It does, and they can see
has the vaccine, but it doesn't have the people to give you the vaccine. It's crazy.
I know, and they can see that in the thing. It said this is based on what we currently know. This is our best prediction. It's not 100% accurate, but at least
it gives you a guideline. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I thought BC has empowered medical students to, like, they've deputized medical students to give the vaccine.
Yeah.
And then with an offer to give them a job when they're done. So.
Yeah, even
Cool.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a
Is
young
the
and
Because
good-
meetup is the meetup after our songwriting challenge show?
It is.
Okay.
You're gonna road test it there. That's why
It
I did
was,
last
but-
time, right?
So I had the same thought, and I was like, well.
That's why I wanted to get mine at least roughly done for the last one to see what was going
Mhm.
on with it.
Yeah. Well, that's been great. Thank you, everyone, for
right.
being on the show. Always
Yep.
fun.
Thank you, Dylan, for sharing your song with us and
Absolutely.
everyone
Thank you for all
else.
the feedback and for listening. I really appreciate it.
You betcha.
Yes.
Good stuff.
And say hi to your dad
Wow.
for us. I do remember him. So I appreciated his work.
Ah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
His oeuvre.
Yeah.
All right, guys, time to get some dinner.
All right,
Yes.
good night.
All
Yeah, I'm
right.
starving. All
Take
right.
care,
Have a
everyone.
good
Take
night,
care.
everyone.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.